A lot of people are tossing and turning many hours before falling asleep, feeling like a roller coaster of emotion, or your heart's racing like you've seen a ghost, or feeling chest pressure like someone's sitting on you. It might be your autonomic nervous system telling you, hey, I need a break. The reasons are very simple. In the past few years, a lot of folks are experiencing or feeling this off-kilter. And thanks to the 1-2 punch of pandemic and economic slowdown. Not to mention the skyrocketing job pressure and prices. Also, wars are messing with people's mind as well. As you can tell, a lot of them are actually under tons of stress. And then you might be having that question, what is autonomic nervous system? Other than your brain and spinal cord, our body is controlled by two parts. One is somatic nervous system, and the other one is autonomic nervous system. Somatic system allows you to control your body. So for example, you control your muscle to walk, or you control your muscle to grab some water. But autonomic nervous system control all the automatic stuff, like breathing, blood flow, heartbeat. You don't control it consciously, but your nervous system is controlling it for you without you having to think about it. People also call this involuntary nervous system or the vegetative nervous system. But of course, you can sometimes exert control over parts of your ANS, which is the autonomic nervous system. For example, you can stop breathing for a short time, like you hold your breath, right? However, eventually, your unconscious system will regain control.
就它不让我控制它，它反噬我。
Yes. So, perfect example is you never heard of people killing themselves by holding their breath, right?
那些憋死的，
通常都是被动的。It's never gonna happen. Like they can control their breath to kill themselves. It never worked.
就是他憋到要死了，他身体就说不行，我不能死。
Right.
然后他就接管了。
Yes. Yeah. Even though to a point that this person loses its self-conscious, the ANS will kick back in. It comes with three important parts of it. The first one is called sympathetic nervous system. It's like the throttle of a car. It could stimulate many parts of your body. For example, it boosts you right up when you're stressed out or in danger, gets your heart going, blood pressure up, and so on. For example, if you're stressed over a big exam or a job interview, let's say, or about to speak in public, it's what helps you to stay sharp and focused. Another perfect example will be, let's say, if you bump into a wild animal like cockroach. So, sympathetic nervous system will get your heart pounding and blood pressure up, ready to yell and run away from it. It also stimulates sweat, enlarging your pupils in the dark. So, if someone sweats a lot, it could be triggered by your sympathetic nervous system. I think you kind of get a point that this nervous system stimulates things, right? It keeps things working. Obviously, when you're trying to sleep, this system's supposed to be winding down instead of being very excited, right? If it doesn't and stay active, it means very likely you will lose your sleep. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are having insomnia.
关机。
对，关不掉，关不掉，关不掉。对，关机按钮坏了。And if this situation continues for a long time, it can even lead to serious conditions like stroke or high blood pressure. So what can make the sympathetic nervous system overactive when it shouldn't? The first one is emotional stress. Worrying about work, studies, health, finances, or family can keep your mind active at night, making sleep elusive. You know, the rising interest rates and the struggle to pay mortgages, or let's say increasing rent and prices, stuff like this can definitely trigger this system.
想得太多了。
Yeah. And the second one is poor sleep habits. For example, irregular sleep times, napping too much after lunch, stimulating activities before bed such as working out late in the evening, or uncomfortable sleep environments like too hot or too cold. And using your cell phones or tablets too much can all mess your sleep because of the blue light from screens. So it's best to avoid them 1 hour prior to sleep. Number 3 is diet. Late night snacking and so on. Especially after studying and working late, people feel hungry, right? Which I totally understand because we get that a lot.
太饿了。
太饿了. So for example, we are filming this at 10 o'clock in the evening. And it's very exhausted. Maybe we should get some late night snacks
现在
later.
就应该整个披萨在前面。
Or maybe some chips.
太饿了，点外卖吧。
But this can upset your stomach and affect your sleep.
就得加班了。
对 And also caffeine and alcohol intake can also disrupt your sleep as well, obviously. Alcohol might make you feel sleepy at first, but this can interrupt your sleep later on. You might notice that after a night of drinking, even if you slept so much, but you don't wake up feeling refreshed. Instead, you'll feel dizzy, tired, headache, or foggy all day. For example, hangover. Exactly. Number 4 is environment and lifestyle. So keeping your room dark and cool and quiet helps with sleep. Some people like to turn on night light because they are afraid of the dark, but that light can disrupt sleep. Also, exercising after dinner is great, but if it's too intense or late in the evening, let's say after 9 o'clock, it can leave you feeling physically tired but mentally wired, which isn't ideal. Okay, so we just talked about sympathetic nervous system. That's the first part. And the second part is called the parasympathetic nervous system. So this controls the rest and digest function in our body, like the opposite of sympathetic nervous system. It helps you to relax, it slows down your heart rate and recovery. It sounds like a brake of a vehicle, right? Help you to stop, slow down and stop, when you try to sleep. It also stimulates our tear production. So maybe I think those actors and actresses can practice and improve the control over their parasympathetic system. Because think about it, they can cry with tears when it's needed.
我以为他们就是想到了什么很难过的事情，然后就是真的因为那么
也有可能，但是你不可能有那么多难过的事情啊，对不对？ Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think the brake is more important or the accelerator?
那你想，你不加速没事儿，你安全的。那你加速了，你停不下来，你不就
Yes. I mean, they are both very important, but I think parasympathetic nervous system is slightly more important than the other one. I don't think I can cope with the life without sleep, right?
就是你不让我动没事儿，你不能不让我睡觉。
Which I think is pretty scary when you're driving, you can't stop the car, right? A lot of people didn't know that the parasympathetic system is also vital for digestion. If it doesn't function correctly, you could also end up with digestion issues like slow stomach emptying or a feeling of fullness or even vomiting.
这样不是能减肥吗？你又一直有饱腹感。
但你不会想这样减肥，都多痛苦呀！系统出问题了。
就是这个一定会伴随着睡眠问题。
Very likely. And here are a few things that can cause us issues with parasympathetic nervous system. The first one is chronic disease, especially diabetes. Diabetes can wreck your nerves and blood vessels, so it's very important to watch out for. I mean, if you have weight issues and you love sweets, you really need to be careful with this.
我爸就是
对 And the second one is aging. Aging can definitely cause the autonomic nervous system to deteriorate, leading to dysfunction, which is why older folks often have trouble sleeping. And the third reason is other viral infections, for example, COVID-19. The third part that I want to talk about is called the enteric nervous system. When I first looked at it, I was wondering, why does our digestive system has something to do with our sleep? Did you know that the gut is actually known as our second brain?
两个脑子
Yes, this is the first one, this is the second one. You can think of it as a kitchen of a restaurant. The brain, which is the general manager of the restaurant, has effect on it. But the kitchen runs its own show. The gut has extensive network of neurons and neurotransmitters. But what's fascinating about this is that the enteric nervous system and our central nervous system originate from the same tissue during embryonic development. Yeah, so during the embryonic development, some part of it became our brain, or let's say the central nervous system, and the rest of it became our enteric nervous system.
难怪呢，我每天想吃什么那都是他控制的。
对，
不是我想吃
就为自己晚上吃宵夜找到借口了。
不是我想吃汉堡，我想吃薯条。不是我想吃，
是你的肚子想吃，
对，
你也控制不了它。
对
It works independently without any control. If your stomach is not feeling well, let's say for example, if you are constipated or having diarrhea for a very long time, and of course you will not feel happy.
饿了就很生气，难怪我减不下来。
Sure, yeah.
所以你看，减肥戒糖
Yeah.
就不高兴。
People don't like it.
真的不高兴。
A lot of people said that actually some of my friends said that to me as well. They said, do I look good after cutting diet and sugar? Yes. But do I feel happy? No. Am I going to do it again? No.
哦，所以吃甜食会高兴，不是让这儿高兴，是让这个脑子高兴。
其实两个都高兴。I'm going to talk about that later. So here comes the big question. How can we regulate our autonomic nervous system? It's actually not that hard. The first thing is to cut back on stimulating foods and drinks like fried foods, spicy stuff, alcohol, coffee, and energy drinks like Red Bull. The second thing is reduce unnecessary medications such as cannabis. Number 3 is to simplify your life by focusing on important things only, whether they are urgent or not. And you make sure to tackle only one task at a time. Absolutely no multitasking, because multitasking stresses people out easily.
那我是用单线程，
那就好，
天然不会有这种烦恼。
对 ，single core。
那我就是那样的。
Number 4 is actually very common, is to exercise more. But this kind of exercise, I'm not saying, after dinner you go out for a walk for 15 minutes. That's not what we meant. But what I was hoping people to do is you need to give yourself a bit of challenge, something that takes effort.
出去走5分钟已经要 take effort 了，
好大的努力啊！
已经很 challenging 了。
Okay, maybe that works for you too. 你出去走5分钟，跟别人锻炼健身1个小时，效果可能是一样开心的。
你看看。
The reason being so is because it's good for endorphin release. Endorphin is a super interesting and important substance in our body, which I'm going to talk about that shortly. Number 5 is to get some sun if you could after you wake up in the morning. But for some people living in Vancouver, for example, you might be having 3 to 5 months of rain season during the whole year. So sometimes it's hard to get sunshine. That's fine. But if you could, definitely get some in the morning. Number 6 is to eat more magnesium-rich food, especially vegetables like spinach, dark chocolate, lettuce, bananas, dried apricots, almonds, walnuts, and so on. Number 7, don't use screen 1 hour prior to your sleep.
那完了，那我们一会儿拍完的再隔1个小时才睡觉。
咱俩也没有这个问题，主要是睡觉对我们来说就是倒头就睡。
太幸福了。
Never had any problems with our sleep.
太气人了你。
Lastly, I want to share a very simple and helpful technique to you guys.
免费的吗？
Oh yeah, of course lah. I'm a Chinese father. What are you talking about? So a research from Harvard University shows that breathing is so effective at reducing stress. A US Marine Corps officer, Jake, drove over an explosive device in Afghanistan. His legs almost completely severed below the knee. Luckily, he remembered a breathing exercise he had learned in a book for young officers. He did that exercise briefly and stayed calm enough to check on his men, give orders to call for help. You see, this technique can be used in extreme situations like war zone. So of course, we can apply that in our daily life. There was also a study that looked into different ways to chill out and handle stress. Long story short, researchers from Yale found that people who did the sky breath meditation had their stress reduced most significantly, with even a 3-month-long lasting effect. So why does this breathing technique work? It turns out that different feelings link up with different ways of breathing. For example, when you're feeling happy, your breath will be deep and slow. Yes.
不啊，我开心的时候就
但是有的时候你不笑，但是你心情也是很开心的一个状态的时候，那个时候通常你的 your breath will be quite deep and slow.
我感觉这种人是我需要克制我的这个 anger 的时候。
那是人家反过来用 breathing technique to control the anger, to control the emotion. But if you feel anxious or ticked off, your breath will be all over the place and shallow and fast.
那我平时呼吸都是这样的耶。
That's why you feel anxious easily. That might have something to do with your breathing techniques.
那你看这脾气也不怪我。
Okay. The basic technique is actually very simple. You just need to change how long you breathe in and out. Okay? So here's the instruction. Breathing through your nose for 4 counts. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale through your mouth for 8 counts. 1, 2. Slowly, not so fast. You have to be slow. You can't breathe out so fast like this. So breathing through your nose for 4 counts, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4 counts. 1. Okay, you know what? So here's the thing you need to do. You're breathing through your nose for 4 counts. You hold it for another 4 counts. And then you exhale through your mouth for 8 counts. then hold on empty for another 2 counts. So that's 1 rep, and you just do it for a few reps, and you feel much better already. This is only the step 1, but there are more steps to follow. So if you're interested, you can just Google it on the internet, but the basic step can already help a lot. And if you can practice these breathing techniques daily, maybe for a few weeks or a few months or even a year, you can start feeling the difference, because this will have very positive impact on your brain and the system to handle stress better in the long haul.
做了2轮就困了。
对，很有效，对不对？ Since being happy is so important in terms of helping our sleep. Endocrinologically speaking, what hormones keep us happy? And how do they work? What can we do to help our body to produce more of those feel-good kind of substances? There are 4 important substances: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. Let's look at dopamine first. It's also called a pleasure hormone. It is released when we eat sugar, carbs, and other snacks like chips and so on. When you satisfy your craving of sweets and snacks, dopamine gives you a rush of excitement and energy. But sometimes these ways of getting a dopamine hit can be unhealthy, as you can see obviously, like becoming dependent on food, sex, sugar, drugs, and so on. After the initial pleasure from these stimulants, a lot of people would actually feel anxious, down, and empty. So it's very easily for them to fall for more food, sugar, and so on.
这是个多巴胺的陷阱。
Yes, it's a trap, you see. It's a very dangerous loop. So finding healthier ways to boost dopamine is the key. Like we just mentioned, meditation is a perfect way to do that.
就是 dopamine 是一个好东西，但是
它让我们感觉快乐。
但你得看是
你是怎么得到这个 dopamine? Yes, very good. The second one is serotonin. It is also known as our mood stabilizer.
Mood.
Mood. It is also known as our mood stabilizer. It is vital if you are struggling with unstable emotion, frequent depression, or irritability. So serotonin is essential for our mood, digestion, sleep, and brain function. As we mentioned earlier, our gut is our second brain, and around 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. Taking good care of it is very crucial. And that's why we always say eating healthy foods that increase serotonin can help prevent anxiety and depression. A study showed that low tryptophan in a diet leads to a lower brain serotonin levels. And interestingly, this amino acid must be obtained from our food. I've made a table to compare different tryptophan sources. So basically, this table shows every 100 grams of these different kind of food sources can produce how much tryptophan. So as we can see, turkey only has 310, which is the highest in meat. But let's look at soybeans, it's 591. Yeah, that's almost double than turkey. Obviously, this table suggests us to eat more vegetarian foods, especially soy-based.
酱油
Soy sauce? 酱油拌饭. And I'm sure you can have a very clear sign that why people are going for vegetarians, right? It seems definitely more healthier. And I guess that's why monks eat tons of soybean-based food and they are always so calm and happy. Additionally, getting some sun and spending time outdoors can promote the production of vitamin D, dopamine, and serotonin. It helps to soothe your mood as well. What I really want to mention is gratitude has an amazing power in terms of serotonin production. It's quite simple. Just close your eyes, remember what you already have, and relive those happy moments. This can trigger your brain to re-experience that joy. So in our family, almost every night, we reflect on the day and share who we are thankful for and why. When you imagine and recall beautiful things, your body produces lots of serotonin. Gratitude can not only help in interpersonal relationships and mental health, but also for physical health. We can talk more in our future videos, so make sure to let us know if you're interested. The next important substance is oxytocin. It is also known as a love hormone because it's released when you feel attracted to someone, have friendly physical contact, or feel safe and trusted. So hugs, kisses, and intimate moments can all trigger oxytocin release. It plays a significant role in human bonding, helping us trust each other and build a stronger relationship. It can also relieve anxiety by stimulating dopamine and serotonin, which provides a warm feeling. Many scientific researches had proved that a healthy romantic relationship can significantly boost your happiness, making every day more joyful. Well, of course, it has to be healthy relationship, right? Otherwise, it's going to be very toxic. One of the most famous researches was led by a professor from Harvard University named Robert Waldinger, who is a psychiatrist, psychoanalyst, and Zen priest. He's known for directing the Harvard study of adult development, which is one of the longest studies on adult life and happiness. The study is ongoing since 1938. It began with 724 participants, including Harvard sophomores, a young man from Boston at the beginning. It now involves over 1,300 of their descendants. Waldinger published a book called The Good Life, reveals the strong relationships are more than wealth or fame in terms of the key to long living, happiness, and health. This study challenges common beliefs about what brings happiness. Actually, I'll put a link in the description, so if you're interested in this book, definitely go check that out. This actually makes a lot of sense because we are social creatures who need various relationships to be healthier and happier. Besides, scientific stats also show lonely elderly people without partners are 120% more likely to suffer from severe cardiovascular diseases and dementia.
独居老人。
对，独居老人，所以还是挺可怜的其实。The last substances is called endorphins. It is often called the natural painkillers. And they're released by our brain when we eat certain spicy or slightly bitter food, or after exercises.
所以我们吃辣觉得快乐，是因为他觉得我们疼，然后他要释放这个 endorphins 止疼
Yes, exactly.
然后他释放这个我们就快乐了。
对 And I think that explains why a lot of people are addicted to spicy food. The more you eat it, the more you like it.
所以它是对于这个 endorphin 上瘾。
Endorphin 让它上瘾。Endorphins are very similar to dopamines in many ways, but endorphins production usually occurs after exercises or achieving a goal following some difficulties. So the pleasure from endorphins, in my opinion, is more advanced and satisfying than dopamines. They might seem to have the same effect on our body, but they're actually quite different. I think that's the same feeling when an athlete achieves a championship. Therefore, one of the easiest ways to get endorphin is through exercises. In conclusion, a lot of people have insomnia because of autonomic nervous system disorder. So taking good care of it is very crucial. The following are helpful to regulate our autonomic nervous system. Number 1 is to cut back on stimulating foods and drinks. Number 2, reduce unnecessary medications. Number 3, simplifying and prioritize your everyday life by focusing on the important things only and absolutely no multitasking. Number 4, exercise more, make it a bit challenging if you could. Number 5, get some sun after you wake up in the morning. Number 6, eat more magnesium-rich foods. Number 7, don't use screens 1 hour prior to sleep time. Number 8, do breath meditation. You know, it's very difficult to go through hard times. Everyone's having their own issues. For example, job securities and children, family, mortgage, car mortgage, house mortgage, right? The reason why we wanted to make this video is because we hope this video could help you guys, even just a little bit. And hopefully after watching this video, some of you guys might have a better sleep and emotions.